Today we are looking at the concept of the language system. My channel is Religion, Science and Technology. I've been trying to explain the concept of the database management system and the application using ERP. And in my last video, I actually explained the concept of an attendance machine to explain the Beavers technology that is used in our election. So today, I am going to link these three dimensions together. I have actually explained the concept of religion. I've explained the concept of technology. Today, I'm going to do the concept of science. Now, I'm doing this within a language system called SQL. How does a database link to the application that you see an employee using in the computer of any company? That is what I want to show you today. So the language I'm going to be using is called SQL language, which is SQL. That is what I'm going to use to show you how data are actually captured from the database, converted into information, and then used by management in decision making. Now, looking at what I have on this board that I want to show you, here I have religion, science, and technology, which is actually my channel. Now, if you look at this part of religion upward, and you look at the part of science upward, and you look at the parts of technology upward, you will see that we look at the logos, and then from the logos, we pull out the rema. From the rema, we get the manifestation. From knowledge, we get understanding. From understanding, we get wisdom. From the database, we move into the DBMS, which is the database management system. And from there, we get the application. From create, we make, and then we form. Then we have the input, the process, and the output. So the whole of this is religion, the whole of this is science, and then the whole of this is technology. Now, what am I trying to explain with the things I have written on this board? I'm simply trying to tell you the concept that has always been in operation from the time of creation, which is you have a thought or an idea inside of you, and then you make that thing, and then you make it visible. Take, for example, you have the type of house that you want to live in your head. You call an architect to come and design it for you. That is the making state. Then you give that drawing of the architect to an engineer to build the house. That is the formation stage where you now make the thing visible. Now, what people pay for is wisdom. But what is inside of you is knowledge. Understanding is how to convert that knowledge into wisdom. Same thing with the logos. For example, we look at the entire scripture. When you can take that in, that is the logos. When you have a problem, the spirit goes in and search every part of the logos that you have and pick out specific information and give to you. That is the rema, which is the solution to the problem. Once you write a script to pick out data from the database and convert it into information, that script that you have written is the function or the procedure through which you pass this data into and you will get your output. I'm going to show you this illustration using a very simple mathematics. So let's look at it. Looking at what I have on the board, I've actually rubbed off the others. Now I have the input, the process, and the output. Now, if I have a simple mathematics like this, say 2 multiplied by 3 equals 6. Now, if you look at this, I can actually take this as the input, and I will take this as the process, and then I will take this as the output. This is the mathematics, how I have converted this into this. Now, if I want to design a table in the database for this mathematics, what do I do? I'm going to take this as a row, and I will take this as column. Now, in a database, a table is actually referred to as a relation. So how am I going to create a table from this and then still get this as the answer? So I'm taking this one as row and this as column. So let me first draw the column. 1, 2, 3. And then I have the row as 1, 2. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is my output. Now, where this row and column meet, which is actually this inside, is referred to as a field. You remember the saying that except a grain of seed fall to the ground and die, it abides alone. Now, where are you going to bury it? You are going to bury it in the field, and this is the field. So the things that you have inside this field is referred to as elements. Now, these elements have data type. So let's assume that I'm giving this column name. So I can call this one maybe column 1, C1, column 2, and this one column 3. So this is a table that I have. Now, I've actually given you the output, which is 6 field that you have inside here. So 1 to 6. Now, looking at this input, the process, and the output, if I leave the input constant this way, and I keep adjusting this process, I will be getting a different output. Say, for example, if I remove this 3 and I change it to 2, I change this to 2. Now, my output will be 4. If I change this to 4, my output will be 8. So I'm having a constant input. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm not altering this one. I'm only changing the process, meaning I'm changing the functions or the procedures in which I am writing. So based on that, I can always alter the things that are inside my database to whatever it is that I want as the output. This is what I really want to demonstrate to you. So you will realize that this is what we call the REMA, which when supplied with this input will always give you a manifestation that you are looking for, which is the output. Using this equation, I'm just trying to show you how you can actually manipulate this output by just adjusting this function alone without touching the input. So when we say the grace of God has appeared to all men, we are talking about the input. Now, what you get as a manifestation will now be determined by your process. And this process depends on you. So that is what I want to show you. Now, using this concept, I'm now going to use SQL language to be able to access this table and then give you different output based on the functions and the procedures I'm going to write in this language. Now, SQL is a non-procedural language that is actually used to access the data in the database. Then pass this data through functions and procedures that have been written in order to be able to generate an expected output in order for management to use in making decisions. Now, the first major statement in SQL is the select statement. So the select statement has 3 capabilities, which are what? Projection, selection, and joining. Now, what is the concept of projection? That I will be explaining to you now. So we are looking at SQL, or you call it SQL. SQL language. This is actually what is used in communicating with the database and pull data from the database, pass it through a function and procedure, and then you'll be able to get information out. So this is what we are going to look at. Now, one of the major statements that you have in SQL is called the select statement. Select statement. Now, this select statement has 3 major capabilities, which are 1, we have projection. Projection, selection, and the third one is joining. Joining. Now, what is the concept of the projection? In a table, I told you that a table in a database referred to as relation. Now, a table has columns and rows. If I am going to pull out information just from the columns, that is projection. If I'm going to pull out information based on the rows, that is selection. Now, what is the concept of joining? Now, a database has multiple tables. At the design of that database, you cannot actually ascertain the conclusive decision that will come out from the database. So you have to leave room for joining, where I can probably give out information from multiple tables. I can decide to say, maybe in a company, we have the employee table, we have the department table. Then I want to know the employee name and the employee age. That is just in one table. So I can find that out using the projection. But if I want to know the employee name, the age of the employee, the salary of the employee, and which department the employee belongs, I'm going to use more than one table to achieve that. So I will need to join. I couldn't have written that in one table at the time of creating the database. So joining is a very powerful capability of the select statement that enables you to actually create new output from an existing database. This is the concept. So I'll be showing you this using a table format. Now, if you look at this table that I've created on the board, you will actually see employee table and department table. Now, this employee table has the employee ID, which is 1 and 2, and it has the first name of the employees, it has the last name of the employees. And then you will also see an extra column, which is what? The department ID that is on this table. But on the side of the department table, you have the department ID, and then you have department name. So if I'm going to write a query to access this database and pull out information from this database, I have to take into consideration certain things, especially when I'm doing joining. If I'm going to do the projection, I can actually write a query that will bring out just this employee alone. And I can bring out this employee and this employee. And in my query, I can decide that, okay, I want to show the employee name, first name, and the employee last name. So I can bring out as many information as possible from this single table. Now, if I want to join this table to this table, there is a relationship which we actually use, and we use primary key and the foreign key. Now, the primary key is actually the unique key in every table. It doesn't repeat itself. So looking at this table now, the primary key of this employee table is the employee ID, 1, 2. While the primary key of this department table is the department ID, 1, 2. Then the foreign key, which means the key that will enable me relate this table to this table, is only on this side, which is what? The department ID. You will notice that on this table I have department ID, and that same column name is what I have on this side, department ID. So I can actually relate, I can join this table to this table using this key, this column, and this column. So in this column, the foreign key, which is what we are looking at, is this one. While the primary key of this table is this one. And the primary key of this table is this one. So if I want to relate this table to this table, I will use the foreign key. That enables me to relate this table to this table. So I am actually going to continue further to explain the various data types that are in each of these columns. That is what we are going to be looking at as we move further. So in this video, I've actually given you a brief introduction into the SQL language. But before I go, let me just write one single query to enable you to see how you can actually search the database, or how you can query the database to pull out information. I am going to show you the part of projection. If I want to write a query to pull out all the information in this table, I can just simply write select star from the table name M. So these are the compulsory statements that is required for any SQL statement to actually function. These one are the major ones. The select is telling you what it is you are expected from a particular table. While this from statement is telling you the table from which you are going to extract those information. So star simply means everything that is in that table is what you are going to bring out. So select star from M is going to show me everything about this particular table. But if I want to see only the first name without seeing this and the department ID, I will just simply say select f.name from M. So it means that this particular statement will bring out everything that is in this table. While this statement will bring out only this column. So I can also write another query again that will bring out this column and this column without this. And then I can also write another statement that will bring out this one and this one without the first name. So I can bring out as many information as possible from this table once I know the proper query language or the proper query to write. This is telling you the table, while this is telling you what is expected from that table. So star tells you that everything is expected from the table, while first name alone in this one is telling you the only thing that should come out from that table. So this is just the brief introduction that I want to give you in SQL. Now, in my next video, I'll be talking about the part of selection and I'll be talking about the part of joining. And then I will start briefly looking at the data types. Everything that is in the column and the row, like what you have here, this column and all these rows, all these columns, they have data type. So what data type is this one? What data type is this one? What data type is this one? We are going to be looking at it. So bit by bit, I will break down the entire concept of the SQL. Now, if you've stayed with me to this moment and you've not subscribed to my channel, please don't forget to click on the subscribe button. And if you like this video, remember to click on the like button and share it on other platform. And if there's anything that you are not clear with in my explanation, please put it in the comment below so that I'll be able to improve on it and actually work on it in my next video. So till then, bye-bye.